Mr. Rubies family. Here we are again, midweek. It is Wednesday. Live streaming.
Do you think that you would have made
Snowstorming.
a really good sports announcer?
No, because you would have to literally read a teleprompter, and that would be my freaking nightmare. Like the teleprompter, well, I don't really know much about television, but I think they typically have
Probably.
a teleprompter. Imagine me on a teleprompter, reading things backwards and messing up words. Remember, I mess up words all the time.
So what do you think
There's a certain level of TV I could probably do.
I know.
Why are you hitting me?
Like maybe not like the actual stand-up comedian, but you would be like a really good host of the stand-up
like
comedy.
Conan O'Brien.
No.
With the sidekick?
Host of the stand-up comedy club.
The host. Oh, like I would introduce the comics.
Yeah.
But then have a little bit of
oh wait, that's actually a role that you already have. You host at Ashes to Rubies events, and that's pretty much the role that you do.
But I'm not introducing comics. I'm introducing people to relate their hope with others. That's the very beginning of, I was doing a little study this morning about the first 3 people in Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yes.
And they recovered and walked out of the hospitals and helped other people within 3 days. One of them was 2 days. And so they received a message, but the very beginning was there was somebody that presented the line of transmission. Do you drink like this? When drinking happens, does this happen to you? Like they related. And so the one person was in a hopeless condition. Like he even knew like there's no human aid that could ever help me. I'm stuck in this sanitarium. And so the next day he went from hopelessness to go like, well, you have a solution that doesn't involve human aid. And he had this little inkling of hope.
So our whole society has evolved to the point where we hold education in such high regard that we feel that anything that you're going to do, you need like all of this education and experience and schooling in order to be able to do it. And like even I can see how that's even happened in Alcoholics Anonymous. It's happened in churches. It's happened in, back in the day, you didn't have to go to medical school for like 12 years to be able to help people. I think the community doctor just kind of got some basic information and then took his horse and buggy and around he traveled and hoped that he could save lives.
Picking up herbs and things that like home remedy stuff.
I'm sure the original social workers were Mother Teresa. Was just willing to walk around the streets and help people. She didn't have to go to school for 2 years. And so I feel like a good balance of that actually is really good in life right now. I think there's some value from that, but then there's also like some, maybe we disregard
credentialing.
No. I think there's value for credentialing, but then I think that there's like people who hold great value and have a lot to offer society, but don't necessarily have the credentialing, but have a lot to offer. Oh, like you. Like you.
With my comedic stands. I always say that the only thing I'm really accredited to do in a day is drive. And I'm well overqualified because I have an AZ trucking license.
Overqualified.
And people are like, what? You used to be a trucker? I used to be a trucker. I love driving equipment. I love driving heavy equipment and shoveling and
What would
buckets.
be your favorite thing to drive that you've never driven?
The favorite... I'm intimidated by air, but I think I would like to drive an airplane.
Oh, that's a good one.
I've driven motorbikes, but like I don't have a motorbike license.
Just to be clear, you fly an airplane. You don't drive it.
So I have a lot to learn.
About
that.
I don't see that in your near future.
Or a helicopter, like that would be an experience of.
I just want to fly in a
driving
helicopter.
Something.
I just want to fly in a helicopter.
That's been a dream of yours. One day you will like, and we don't want to pray about these things because I know that God can make anything happen, but I know that it could happen very unlike we would want it to, because my friend was in a helicopter ride too, and he was being helicoptered to another hospital because it was so bad. So
I don't need to fly in a helicopter that bad.
Yeah, just if it comes up, it comes up. I went over.
Nor am I going to spend $400 on a helicopter ride, which is what
The
it
hospital
costs.
gives it to you for free.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Welcome.
Good morning,
Hello.
Michael. Michael, the
Good
designer,
morning.
is on and up, shoveling the driveway. Another snow. Is it a snow day today, or is it just a snowy day?
I haven't looked at the news, so I'm not sure if like
The
the
children-
buses were canceled
Man,
again.
the children get to go back to school, and then the mat gets ripped from under their feet. But I think it's more distressful for the parents.
Some people did send their kids to. I think a lot of people sent their kids to school yesterday.
I heard of one story that the door was locked.
That's because that school's in the country.
The country school.
Country school.
They don't get the updates quite as readily.
So we're gonna read from the Al-Anon Family of Alcoholics Daily Reader. We're going to give you a little something to think about, a morning meditation, so you can take this thought and reflect on it throughout the day.
It's an idea of recovery from the perspective of codependency and substance abuse. And so we are just going to, and I think it perpetuates life in general.
Why don't you point at yourself when you say substance abuse? You point at me when no, I'm just kidding.
All right, here we go.
Read away.
No matter what the problems are that we're trying to cope, a major source of frustration is trying to encompass too much at once. We forget that we need to deal with only one day at a time and try to crowd too much into the waking hours of the day. Or we even extend it beyond the point of weariness. We can get more out of each hour and accomplish more if we try to cope with only as much as is possible in that one day. We find such relaxed and relaxing counsel in the helpful little folder just for today, which gives us, among others, the following. Just for today, I tell myself, I will live through this day only and not tackle all of my problems at once. I can do something for 12 hours that would appall me if I can do something for 12 hours that would appall me if I felt I had to keep it up for a lifetime. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Right? I can do this for 12 hours. If I thought I had to do it for the rest of my life, I would be horrified, but I can just do it for 12 hours.
I will slow my pace. If I am under pressure and setting myself deadlines and worrying about tomorrow, I will stop for a few minutes and think of just this one day. What can I do with it? Quote, for there is a time for every purpose, for every work. Amen. One day at a time, it's reminding me of. I believe that I came from the world of chugging. So I remember being in a friend's kitchen, and you know how I like my milk. So I put the milk in a big beer glass, and the mom came in, and I was just talking, and I just drank the milk like I normally would. And she's like horrified that I would chug milk. It's like, what do you think that is, a beer? And then I'm like, well, yeah, I'm chugging it like a beer, and I chug life. And I think we do that. This isn't saying stay sober one day at a time, because stopping drinking is forever, but then life happens one day at a time. So I have to deal with life one day at a time, and I deal with that through my relationship with God on a daily basis. But we can get into this mode of like, I have work, I have people that I'm working with through the LifeLab or whatever it is. I have to speak here. And then I get overwhelmed and I start chugging. I start chugging. And when I chug, it just goes all over me. And then I get more anxious, and I get more gripped with fear, and I'm not coping well. And so we were talking about this morning, is what causes me to be in the middle of the road. And it's typically the fear of self-reliance failing me, and the fear that God won't do his job. And so when I'm in the middle of the road, I go for ease and comfort and other things. I might not pick up alcohol again, but I like to pick up the fork, or I like to pick up the sugar, or I like to pick up just scrolling and looking for ease and comfort, because I'm sitting in the middle of the road gripped by fear. And so that's what chugging gets me. But they're not talking about quitting drinking one day at a time.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely not wise to try to tackle all our problems at once. That's super over, and I have a tendency to do that, take on, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do and then I can't do it all well, and then I get discouraged and just quit. That's typically that. I think that's probably a human nature. But this, if I look at what I have for today, and if I'm intentional, which we started to do, I don't know what, 6 months ago, sit down in the morning, sit for some quiet time. We read a psalm out of the Bible, a proverb, and a little section from another chapter. We pray. We take usually 5 minutes of silence and a meditation, and then we look at our day. And so we actually talk about this is what I have laid out for today. Do I see any insecurity that could rise up? What am I anxious about? Maybe my day is overscheduled.
Mhm,
Maybe
mhm.
there's something that I could leave for tomorrow. Um, and so we just take 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, I
Usually, I don't
feel
think it
like
necessarily needs to be that
I
long.
never worked at Walmart, but I've heard about it, and they have a team meeting in the morning, and they go rah rah rah,
Yeah.
and they sing a song, and I think that's what we do,
Yeah.
and it gives us the ability to cope with the day
Mhm.
because the only thing that's going to get in our way is us. And I remember at the very beginning of my recovery, I was at a treatment center at a homeless shelter, and they made us go to this AA meeting, and I remember this one guy as a new meeting on Spark Street. Like it was like a business meeting. You got a bunch of like homeless shelter rehab guys come in. It
With the
was
business people,
it,
the government
it was
workers,
interesting.
the lawyers,
On
and the
Spark Street,
doctors.
and so I remember this guy talking about a coper, and he was born without a coper, and so he just chugs everything all the time. So he talked about in recovery,
Mhm.
we're given one day every day to cope with peeling a potato. And so how I don't cope is looking behind the wall where the conveyor belt is, and then I see all the potatoes. Or I come on this side and I'm like, oh, they have enough potatoes for the day. I don't have to peel a potato today. But he talked about his relationship with God, about peeling the potato every day, and that way he can cope because
Mhm.
he was born without a coper. Today the meditation is like, what am I chugging, and is it causing anxiety? Do I just want to get on to the next thing? But what is the next thing for us in active addiction?
Mhm.
We just want to get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and typically it's the next beer
Mhm.
because we need a break from not being able to cope with life.
Mhm.
So
So encouragement for today is: can you slow your pace? Um,
peel your
do
potato.
you need to slow your pace and just take care of one thing that's in front of you? And if I'm feeling under pressure, I think it's good for me to pause. We
Mhm,
pause and we turn. And so for me, it's pause and turn and just ask, is there something that I need to take off my schedule? Is there something that I've been procrastinating that I need to get done?
mhm,
How do
mhm.
I rest in this day?
One of the other concepts is that we have this saying that when anybody reaches out their hand, our hand has to be there like that. So we have to actually have space for other people,
Yeah.
and to be able to like even triage them or even
Mhm.
spend an hour. So but if I have my day so packed, then I'm in control. I'm controlling
Mm.
my whole day, and I get my results. So stop the chugging, peel the potato, make some poutine, eh? And we will see you at noon. Our girl JoJo Beats is speaking at noon on Zoom today. You can see go to the social media and you'll see the link to that. It is an all open recovery meeting. She has a lens of codependency. So just come and be a part of. You'll hear a 20-minute share on a topic, and then we'll have a time of open sharing. So come and be a part of, and that's all I have. So keep the peace, be of good behavior, and we'll see you at noon.